whole idea was to be there as a witness of this tragedy. By no stretch of imagination, I'm saying we shot a documentary. I was the director of photography of the 8 episodes of DOPESICK. It's basically the story of how America got hooked into the worst opioid epidemic that has happened in this country. More than 800,000 people has died in the last decade. Countless life has been destroyed. I thought that this would be something that had to be told in a way that the look would not conflict or would not superimpose a different layer of information on top of the information that was given, because the information was so brutal that to massage it with over-stylized look or push to one way or the other look, it will diminish the impact of it. It started pretty much in the working class areas. The pharmaceutical company identified those areas and they said, okay, these people have pain because they hurt or in the mind, something happens to them, let's give them opioids. The drug addiction, it's tragic. But what is even more tragic, who do you trust? You trust your pastor, you trust your rabbi, you trust your friend, but especially you trust your doctor. That's the person you trust. There are 3 concentric circles. The circle of the victims, working class and this strong commitment. There's the circle of the civil service, distant because all their work was so legal. And the 3rd circle is the circle of the owners of this pharmaceutical company, rich people with color and beauty and warmth. And then the circles start changing and these people becomes more evil and this becomes more tragically involved with the drugs. And this sunk in the middle because they cannot fight the millions of lawyers or dollars and hundreds of lawyers. So it was a very beautiful arc that the scripts had, and we tried to follow it with the cinematography and the colors. And when you're doing a drama and when you base yourself in the fact that the audience has to believe what you're telling them, it's like having all these tools, but you restrain yourself and you contain. So that was very interesting, how to maintain a beautiful look, technically consistent, and yet poignant for an audience to be engaged. One of the beauties of being a cinematographer is that you tend to surround yourself with people that know more than you. You have that palette of brushes. So you take the gaffer brush and you do this, and you take the key grip brush and you do very little adjustment here, and then you take the DIT brush and you start creating a whole new dialogue with the image. I think one of the most challenging environments every cinematographer finds himself is the environment you're not comfortable with. And I found myself in this intriguing moment of saying, how do I make this environment that I don't know, which is the legal system, fascinating and interesting? And at that point, you lean into your directors. You lean into the director and say, I'm starting to pull the ideas that I said I shouldn't do. And at that point is the magic of the directors, which ultimately is their movie. And what they do is what it counts. What I do is one more piece in the puzzle. Barry Levinson, Patricia Regan, and Danny Strong, and Michael Cuesta, each one brought his own world. And that's what it made it different. This was my 3rd collaboration with Daniele Colombera. And when we talked about the project, he said, why don't we have you use the latest ZEISS lenses? I got introduced to the Supremes. I thought that would give the show the unique capability of the depth of field and the out of focus, or the softness of the background that will allow you to concentrate on the drama of this particular person as opposed to getting lost in a beautiful environment. I compare cinematographers to chefs. So one day I'll buy tomatoes and I'll do a bolognese. The next day I'll buy tuna and I'll do a sushi. So among the supermarket that day, the option was the Venice and the option were the Radiance and the Supremes. But I think the lenses have personalities, and I think the lenses are animated creatures. You need to understand what they want. I'm the guy that will use the best tool for that particular project. The extended data, metadata that the lens gives you, that came with it. And that, I think it was wonderful. A wonderful plus that we had in this project. I'm a big admirer of Rodrigo Prieto, and I saw this short he did, and I was fascinated by the possibility of seeing what these lenses would do. And then when I was at Keslo, the rental house we got the equipment from, I said, you guys remember those lenses? And somebody said, oh yeah, the ZEISS. So I put one in and I said, oh my God, it's great. This was a show that needed to have an invisible presence of the cinematographer, of the lenses, of the camera. So for the world of the miners, we embraced this gentle touch of coldness. We couldn't cross-pollinate the world from the other people because it would have completely changed the sense of the story. But they complement each other perfectly. They're warmer, the skin tones are warmer. The Supremes are a little bit less tonally warm. I think at this point, we're splitting hairs, and I think it's important to split hairs, but at some point it's important to cook with the tomatoes you bought and do the best pasta you can.